It starts subtly, a little more tired than usual. A morning walk that feels heavier than it used to. Moments where a name or word slips your mind. You chalk it up to age, maybe even laugh it off. But what if these small signs were your body whispering something urgent? For many people over 60, these changes aren't inevitable. They're clues. Clues that your body is reacting to what you're feeding it. Or more specifically, what meats are silently undermining your health. And here's the shocking truth. Some of the worst culprits are sitting in your fridge right now. In this story, you'll discover the 3 meats you should never eat after 60, and the 3 that can help you stay mentally sharp, physically strong, and emotionally balanced, especially if you're determined to maintain independence, keep up with your grandkids, or simply enjoy more mornings pain-free. So let's begin with the meats to avoid. 1. Breakfast sausage, the hidden burden in your morning. William had always started his day the same way. A hot cup of coffee, a newspaper by the window, and 2 sizzling breakfast sausages on his plate. It was tradition, a habit carried over from decades of early mornings as a high school principal. Back then, he needed something quick and hearty before the long drive to school. Something savory, familiar, something that tasted like energy. But now, at 68, retirement had slowed his pace, but not his habits. He still reached for sausage in the morning. It still tasted good, still felt like comfort. But quietly, things were changing. He noticed it first in little ways, a belt notch tighter than last year, a stiffness in his knees that lingered longer than usual, a strange heaviness in his legs when walking the dog. But he brushed it off, part getting older, he thought. Then came the blood pressure, higher than normal. Then the energy dips in the afternoon, sharper, more stubborn. And the headaches, not painful exactly, but dull and constant, like a background noise he couldn't shut off. Still, he didn't suspect the sausage. He didn't know that the comforting little patties on his plate were more than just meat. They were packed with saturated fats and loaded with sodium. But the real danger? The hidden chemicals, nitrates and nitrites, added to preserve flavor and color. Once in the body, they can transform into nitrosamines, compounds linked to colon and stomach cancer. Worse still, he cooked them in a frying pan, just like always. That's where another hidden danger emerged: advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These toxic compounds form when meat is cooked at high heat. They worsen inflammation, speed up joint damage, and even accelerate the aging process. William thought he was feeding himself comfort, but in truth, he was feeding a slow fire, one that drained his vitality, dulled his days, and quietly chipped away at his health. What was once a beloved morning ritual had become a hidden burden, not just on his plate, but on his life. 2. Deli turkey, the deceptive healthy meat. Margaret had always tried to do what was best for her health. In her younger years, she'd never given food a second thought. But as she grew older, every meal started to matter. Like many her age, she worried about cholesterol, blood pressure, and the creeping complications of age. So, she made changes, small ones but meaningful. She gave up red meat and turned to what seemed like a smarter alternative: deli turkey. It was lean, easy to prepare, and it sounded healthy. The packaging promised low fat and light. The commercials showed happy seniors enjoying heart-healthy lunches. Margaret believed she was on the right path. But not long after, she noticed something wasn't right. She began feeling unusually bloated after meals. Her legs and ankles were puffier than usual. Her favorite shoes started to feel tight. Some days, she felt breathless just walking from one room to another. Her mind, once sharp and quick, seemed foggy and slow. And her doctor had begun adjusting her medications more often than she liked. She didn't make the connection at first. After all, she wasn't eating junk food. She wasn't eating bacon or fried chicken. Just sandwiches. Just turkey. But behind that thin layer of sliced meat hid a problem far bigger than she imagined. Deli meats, even turkey, even the low-fat ones, are highly processed. They're packed with sodium, chemical preservatives, and artificial additives to extend shelf life and keep them looking fresh. For a healthy young adult, this might not be devastating. But for someone in their 60s or beyond, already managing blood pressure, kidney function, or heart conditions, it's dangerous. The sodium in a few slices of deli turkey can quietly cause fluid retention. That's why Margaret's ankles swelled. That's why she couldn't catch her breath. And because she was already taking heart and diabetes medications, her body couldn't keep up. The hidden salt was overwhelming her system. Margaret thought she was being careful. She thought she was making smart choices. But her daily turkey sandwich, the one that felt safe and simple, was silently making things worse. 3. Harold's steak, a luxury that came with a price. For over 40 years, Harold had a ritual. Every Friday night, like clockwork, he'd grill himself a thick, juicy steak. Medium rare, just the way he liked it, pink in the middle, sizzling on the outside. To him, it wasn't just food. It was comfort, a reward for making it through the week. A small joy that reminded him of younger days, backyard barbecues, and time spent with family. But as the years passed, Harold noticed subtle changes in his body. His knees ached more after walks. His digestion felt heavier, slower. He brushed it off as just aging, until one night, after his usual steak dinner, he felt a sharp pain in his chest, a scare that sent him to the emergency room. That's when the truth hit him hard. As we age, our bodies become less forgiving. Our digestive systems slow down. Our immune response weakens. Foods that once gave us energy and pleasure can turn against us. And red meat, especially when grilled rare, is a prime example. Steaks like Harold's may taste delicious, but they often carry a hidden cost for older adults. The saturated fat in red meat becomes harder to digest. Cooking it at high temperatures forms harmful compounds like HCAs, heterocyclic amines, and PAHs, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, chemicals that can inflame the body and raise the risk of certain cancers. For people over 60, this isn't just a nutritional footnote. It's a real risk. Joint pain, indigestion, and chronic inflammation can quietly build up, making everyday life harder. And while iron is essential, the form found in red meat, heme iron, can accumulate in the body, contributing to oxidative stress, which speeds up cellular aging. Harold didn't want to give up his steaks. He didn't do it out of preference. He did it because he had to. After his heart scare, his doctor made it clear. The foods he once loved were now working against him. If Harold had known earlier, he might have made small changes, maybe leaner cuts, smaller portions, or grilling less often. But like many of us, he didn't see the warning signs until they became impossible to ignore. Now, Harold shares his story so others won't wait too long. Because sometimes, the cost of a habit isn't paid in money, it's paid in health. 3 meats that help you thrive after 60. Not all meat is bad. In fact, the right meats can nourish your heart, your brain, and your strength. Let's meet your body's best allies. 1. Wild-caught salmon, nature's brain booster. At 68, Gloria never thought she'd be painting again with the same clarity she had in her 40s. Once a vibrant artist, she had quietly put her brushes down a few years ago. Her hands ached, her thoughts felt scattered, and sometimes she'd walk into a room and forget why she was there. It was frustrating, and worse, lonely. But something changed. A friend suggested she try adding wild-caught salmon to her meals a couple of times a week. Skeptical but hopeful, Gloria gave it a shot. The results weren't overnight, but they were real. Within a month, her mind felt clearer. She could focus for longer stretches in front of her canvas. Her mood felt lighter. Even her sleep, once broken and restless, became deeper, more refreshing. It turns out wild-caught salmon is packed with omega-3 fatty acids, especially EPA and DHA, nutrients the aging brain desperately needs. These natural compounds protect brain cells, reduce inflammation, and even help with emotional well-being. Scientists have found they can sharpen memory, lift fatigue, and even soothe joint discomfort, making it easier to enjoy daily activities again. But that's not all. Omega-3s in salmon also support the heart, helping lower triglycerides and keeping arteries flexible, something every aging body benefits from. For seniors like Gloria, this isn't about chasing youth. It's about regaining confidence, clarity, and the simple joy of doing what they love again. And in her case, that's painting with calm hands and a clear mind. Sometimes, the best medicine doesn't come in a bottle. Sometimes it comes from the ocean. 2. Free-range chicken, the gentle muscle builder. James had just turned 72, a retired school teacher. He lived alone in a quiet neighborhood, enjoying slow mornings with classical music and the occasional walk around the garden. But over the past year, James had noticed something troubling. His legs weren't as strong as they used to be. The stairs took longer. His balance fell off. Sometimes, just getting out of his favorite armchair felt like a small battle. He didn't eat much, never had. Heavy meals made him feel sluggish. He preferred light soups, soft vegetables, and simple dishes. But it wasn't enough. His doctor told him he was losing muscle, a condition called sarcopenia that often affects older adults. Without enough protein, his body couldn't maintain strength, and that was putting his independence at risk. A friend recommended he try adding free-range chicken to his meals. Not the tough, heavily processed kind from the store, but gently cooked, hormone-free chicken, the kind that was lean, naturally raised, and easy on the stomach. Skeptical but willing, James gave it a try. He started small. Tender pieces of roasted chicken breast added to his soups, or slow-simmered in a gentle broth with carrots and potatoes. The difference wasn't instant, but it was steady. Within weeks, he noticed he was waking up with more energy. His steps felt firmer. The simple act of walking across the kitchen no longer felt like a chore. What made the difference wasn't just the protein, though that was vital. Free-range chicken gave James what his body craved. Lean, high-quality protein to rebuild muscle, along with B6, niacin, and zinc to support his brain, boost his immunity, and keep his energy steady throughout the day. And because the meat was softer and easier to chew, it didn't irritate his sensitive gums or give him trouble swallowing, a common issue many of his peers complained about. Now, chicken has become a quiet hero in James's daily routine. It's not flashy, but it works. It helped him feel like himself again, not young, but capable. And at this stage in life, that's more than enough. 3. Grass-fed liver, the forgotten superfood. Eleanor never thought she'd find relief in something as humble as beef liver. For years, she had grown used to the quiet fatigue that clung to her each morning. Tasks that once felt easy, watering her garden, flipping through a book, keeping up with the grandkids, began to feel heavier, slower. It wasn't sudden, but it was persistent. She chalked it up to aging, as many of her friends had. But during a routine checkup, her doctor looked over her blood work and asked a simple question. Have you ever tried grass-fed beef liver? The idea sounded old-fashioned, something her grandmother might have cooked, but she was willing to try anything. She started small, one modest portion a week, sautéed gently with onions and a touch of garlic. Within a few weeks, something unexpected happened. Her mornings weren't so slow anymore. She began to notice a lightness in her step, a clarity in her thoughts, and even a sharpness returning to her vision that she hadn't felt in years. Eleanor didn't change anything else. It was the liver, packed with vitamin B12, iron, vitamin A, folate, and choline. Grass-fed liver quietly addressed what her body had been silently craving. These nutrients are essential for keeping up energy, memory, and even supporting vision, especially important as we grow older. For seniors like Eleanor, it wasn't a miracle cure. It was simply the right nourishment at the right time. Of course, the flavor took getting used to. Its deep, earthy taste wasn't what she'd call comfort food at first, but when prepared with care, it became a dish she not only tolerated, but looked forward to. Eleanor's story is not unique. For many older adults, fatigue, forgetfulness, and foggy vision aren't inevitable. Sometimes, the answer is simpler than we think. Sometimes, it's hidden in a food we've long forgotten. And maybe, just maybe, it's time we remembered. Growing older doesn't mean surrendering your health. It means being wiser with your choices. Each meal is an opportunity to heal or to harm. The meats you eat can either support your strength and clarity or quietly erode them. The good news is you don't have to overhaul everything. You just need to start with one better choice. Say goodbye to the silent saboteurs, processed sausages, deli meats, and undercooked red meat. And say hello to your allies, wild salmon, free-range chicken, and nutrient-rich liver. Because every bite is a vote for your future. What will you choose today? Have you made a meat swap that changed how you feel? Share your story below. Your experience could inspire someone else to reclaim their strength. If you found this helpful, please like and subscribe. And remember, it's never too late to feel better. It just starts with what's on your plate.